I'm making today's video for two people, for my 7-year-old daughter and the younger version of me. The young girl who was so ambitious and ready and believed with her whole being that you proved to the world who you were by doing more, being more, achieving more, and doing it all at once, always. Hi, I'm Marissa. Welcome back, or welcome if you're new here. I share stories about things that I'm going through, sometimes mental health related, other times whatever comes to my mind. So, thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. In today's video, I want to dive into something that a friend told me recently, and it just completely stopped me in my tracks. And I believe that this might be the missing piece to me understanding my breakdown that I had last year and what caused me to leave my career that I spent so long building. And she said to me that she plans to raise her daughters with the mindset of you can have it all, just maybe not all at the same time. I had to sit with that because nobody told us that. Nobody told me that. That was the first time I heard that phrase. And it almost felt like permission. If you're somewhere in the middle of all of this, of trying to hold it all together, then maybe this video is for you too. But let's go back a little bit. If you're a millennial woman, think about what we were told growing up. We were told we could be anything, do anything, and have everything or anything that we wanted. And that genuinely was meant to be empowering. And in a lot of ways, it was. Our grandmothers and our mothers fought for us to have those options and those freedoms. And I think that's a beautiful thing. But somewhere along the way, I feel like the messaging shifted. And I feel like it went from you have all these options to you should be doing all of them all at once and make sure you look good doing it. That made us enter into this like girl boss era. It's almost like we were groomed to be part of the hustle culture. There was a rise of like women who could do it all. They have a career, a family, fit body, a clean house, a social life, a side hustle, self-care time, and apparently she's thriving. And if you weren't thriving, you were framed as not being able to keep up, and that was a discipline problem and a mindset problem. You had to wake up earlier. You had to do more. You had to push harder. You just weren't doing enough in your day. Everyone has the same hours. It was just how you use them. But no one talked about the cost and what we were actually giving up to have that life and live that lifestyle. Nobody talked about the mental load of having it all and trying to achieve it all and be there for everyone all at once. I don't think we were taught to really pace ourselves. I think we were taught to perform. I can only speak for myself here, but maybe some of you will be able to relate. I spent 10 or more years at a company that I genuinely loved. And I believed in them and I believed in my career. I worked my way up. I took on more responsibility. I said yes more. I was really good at what I did. And from the outside, it probably looked like things were going really well. And to be honest, in a lot of ways, they probably were. But what no one saw was the amount of energy it took for me to maintain that life, that lifestyle, that masking, all of it. I would come home completely drained and empty and still having to perform and be a wife and a mom. And I stopped doing things that filled me up and brought me joy, either because I was too tired, too busy, or I would feel guilty for taking that time to myself and not spending enough time with my loved ones. And I just kept telling myself that this would all just be a season. It would be different in so many months. It would be different once it's a new school year. It would be different once this special project was over. It would be different once this, that, or whatever thing happened. But things weren't different and things never really slowed down. I did. I slowed down. I kept slowing down and kept slowing down, and I hit a wall. I completely burnt out. And it wasn't a kind of burnout where you could just go on a little vacation and a little sunshine and ocean could fix it all. No, it was genuine. My brain and body were not connecting. They were on completely different planets, and I had a lot of stuff to figure out. It's the type of feeling where you're sitting in a meeting that you've had to sit in over and over again. It's like a repeating meeting, and you're listening, but you're not really hearing anything that's going on, and you have no idea what's actually going on and what everyone's talking about. and yet your body's there and you act like and you seem like you're paying attention, and yet you have no idea what's actually going on. Or I would go home and have times where I would just cry, either on the way home or once I got home, and I'd have no idea why. Just random crying. And eventually I reached a point where I just couldn't do that anymore. I literally could not. My body just wasn't going to go anymore. It stopped. It stopped going in that direction that I had pushed it to go for all those years. And I know now that leaving was the right decision, but when I did it, I felt like a complete failure. And I think that that's because we were never taught that stopping or taking a break was an option. At least I wasn't. I don't know about you, but I was never taught that taking a break was an option. I think what I was taught was that stopping meant you weren't committed enough, you didn't work hard enough, and you're just not strong enough to handle it all. I didn't want it bad enough. And what I learned was that I didn't actually burn out because I was weak or not strong enough to handle that life. I burned out because I was literally forcing a circle into a square peg or a square into a, what is that called? What is that saying? I learned that I was just operating against a completely unsustainable system that was created for us in society. I don't think we're meant to do it all at the same time. I don't think that society built this system with actual women or moms in mind. I think that it was never considered like the weight of what moms and women have to carry, the mental load of being a parent and having to raise kids on top of everything else that we're doing already. And that made me realize that like I didn't actually fail. The system is broken. I didn't fail the system. The system is broken to begin with. So I'm good. And that's why that phrase really resonated with me when my friend said it. You can have it all, just maybe not all at the same time. Something in me just exhaled. It almost felt like a permission to be where I'm at and to accept my cards, I guess. When I think about that saying, I think about the choices that it gives you. You don't have to choose between kids and a career. You don't have to choose between ambition and presence. You can have it all. Just pick the timelines in your life where you want to commit to those specific things. There's nothing wrong with that. I actually think it's a great strategy to teach young girls to like build your life around certain goals. And in my opinion, it's a lot more important to commit to one thing and just give it 100%. And so to get really honest with you, when I left my job a year ago, I didn't really have a plan. I didn't know what I was going to do. And then things kind of did fall into place eventually. Didn't really have a plan. I just knew that I couldn't keep doing life the way that I was doing it. For a little while, the absence of like what I had, the corporate life style, I guess, and the structure of it all, like not having any of that was really disorienting. I went through like highs and lows in the beginning of, I love this. This is great. I love doing something different every day. But then the reality set in and I was like, oh, but like, what did I actually do? Why did I do this? Why did I change my life so drastically? And why did I do it in that way? Like, I started second guessing everything. But that scary, uncomfortable space actually gave me time to analyze everything, to process everything, and to realize what I actually want. And it wasn't that. So I think that's what like no one tells us when they're telling us to build our dream. They never really ask us like what having it all really means to us. They just hand us a checklist and expect us to follow it. So I wonder, what if you wrote our own checklist? What if the version of you having it all looks completely different than the version that was written up for us? What if our version included more resting, more presence, just more space, and less of the stuff that we're supposed to be chasing just because we thought we were supposed to want it? And in my opinion, I don't think that's lowering the bar. I feel like that's setting a standard and creating a higher standard for a living. Mental health should be how we set the bar. It shouldn't be where we come down to because of something happening in our life. To the two people that I made this video for, because they're the ones on my mind. And first is my daughter. Baby girl, pumpkin, I love you so much. And I just want you to know that you can be anything you want. Really, you can. You're going to want to do so many things. And I want every single one of those things for you. But I just need you to know something that no one taught me ever. And that's to take your time and don't try to do it all at once. It's going to be way too overwhelming. You have so much time. You have time to build a career, you have time to be a mom, you have time to take care of yourself, but don't think you have to do it all at the same time. You're allowed to commit to one thing and just go really deep into it and put other stuff to the side and let them wait. That's purpose and wisdom, and that's no way a sign of failure. And to the younger version of me, the one who was working herself to the bone, thinking she had to prove herself with achievement, you were never going to win this game of corporate life the way they told you to play because you were never going to follow the rules anyway. You were never going to get to the finish line of enough because there was never enough. That didn't exist. So don't beat yourself up. I would tell my younger version to not worry about the game that everyone's playing at corporate because the way that they want you to play it is not going to be a way that you're going to be successful. So just do your own thing and know that better things will come and you'll figure out what actually matters by following your gut. And you still can have it all. I really truly do believe that for my daughter, for myself, for you, for my friends' daughters. But just give yourself grace to do it in chapters. You don't have to do it all at once. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope you will subscribe if you haven't already so I can see you in my next video, and I will talk to you then. Bye.